Okay, so today we're going to be doing a little construction paper collage, and we're going to be creating a building kind of like this. And this is based off of the Pantheon, and the Pantheon is a former temple, and it's actually in Rome, Italy. So you're going to have the steps up, you're going to have the main temple shape, and then you're going to have a rectangle dome and all these columns. And if you don't get as far as to gluing everything on today, we'll have next week to finish up gluing, adding on the details and all of that. So don't worry if you don't get as far, okay? So I will have a sheet like this out for you guys, which will help you show you the steps. I have different strips of rectangles, long rectangles, and these are for the steps and columns. I have shorter ones, that are wider ones, which will be for these little areas here, and then there's bigger rectangles for the actual building, okay? So I've kind of started one here, and you can see I've made a little mistakes, but it's no problem. I'm gonna fix it. One thing I want you to notice is, first thing I did is I wrote my name and 1 dash in my class code. And I want you to notice that the strip here at the bottom, it could go all the way, or you can be like a finger width from the edge, and that would be fine. So if I do mine, I'm gonna do mine about finger width there and here. And I don't wanna cut off too much or my building won't be big enough, okay? And then we're using this Elmer's glue this year, and I'm doing it a little different way. So you're gonna take this, you don't wanna have tons and tons of glue like this in there, okay? You just have to dip it in like that. And then you're going to brush it on to your paper. I always set it on the lid when I'm finished. Then I'm gonna slightly overlap this and then make sure it's even. And then I'm gonna smooth it on like that. And then do the same thing here, about a finger width. And I'm cutting it, but if you wanna mark it first, then you can totally mark it first on your paper. And I am saving these pieces because I'll need them for future use, so I don't wanna throw or wad anything up. And this is great though. Notice how when I'm doing this, I don't have very much glue at all. And this is really great because it's gonna save the glue. We're not gonna have to worry about the glue seeping out, okay? So I've got 3 steps up into my building. And then I'm gonna use this rectangle piece. So right now this rectangle piece is just slightly smaller than that, and that will totally work. If it's overhanging and you need to trim it, that's fine too, okay? So what I'm gonna do first is I'm going to fold this in half, and then I want this to have like a house. So you're gonna have start right up here where that is. Then you can have a little line and an end line here if you want. You can actually draw it out with pencil. You can use crayon too. And then I'm going to cut this. Okay, and this is for the main part of my building. So I think it's fine the way it is, but I'm gonna show you if you do need to trim it, how you can do that. So if it's a little too wide, or let's say it's overhanging, like this one, let's say it's overhanging right there, what I could do is fold it. Then I can take my scissors and trim just a little bit off the side. Then I can open it up again, and now it fits on that step even more so, okay? Now, I am not gonna glue this yet, okay? So I'm gonna get a couple more of these strips. So one's gonna go behind here. I think I'm gonna use the yellow behind here, and one of them's gonna be like a dome. And notice that the dome is gonna kind of go off the page a little bit, and that's what I want. So kind of like what we did before, we're gonna fold it. And to make this dome, rather than a straight line like what we did, we're gonna start here. I'm gonna do a curve line to that point. And it's kind of hard to see here, but it just goes from here all the way to there. So a nice curved line. And if you need me to help you, I can certainly help you with the drawing. Then we're gonna cut it out. Open it up. And it kind of has a little point there. I'm actually kind of liking that. If you don't, you can just cut that off. So I'm gonna kind of arrange this before I do any gluing. So let's see. I want this to be over the step a little bit. I want this to be behind here and this to be overlapping there. So one thing I notice is, see how I have a little gap here? That's gonna drive me crazy. So since this is a little bit shorter, I'm gonna set it side by side, trim off a little bit here. So as you can see, this is a process for sure. Then I'm gonna set this right on top. I kind of like that better. So I'm gonna kind of leave a little space to overlap. So I'm gonna kind of just very small little trim off these corners so that it doesn't show. So it lays in there nicely. Okay, so let's go back, look, make sure it fits. Pantheon overlapping, this would be right here. Okay, so I'm gonna hold this rectangle piece. I'm gonna put a little bit of glue here. I don't have to put glue over the whole thing. I'm just gonna put glue kind of around the edges, like that. And then I'm kind of placing this in the back here. I'm kind of making sure it's even on both sides. I mean, it's not gonna be perfect, and that's fine. One thing you could do to kind of make it a little more perfect, you can kind of see a light little crease there. I like that. And then I'm gonna put glue on the back of this one. Remember, just dipping it in there. And the nice thing is too, with the glue, if you find that you don't like something, if you kind of carefully take it up right away, you should be fine. If you let it dry on there, then it's gonna tear the paper. So if you don't like something, you wanna tear it, or peel it off, I should say, right away. I'm gonna make sure it's kind of overlapping, centering that a little bit, rubbing it on, and then the last piece for now, be that dome up there. So I turn it on the back side. And I will give you a countdown when it's getting close to cleanup, so that if you do not get to all this gluing today, don't worry. We'll just put our name on it. So I'm gonna have it a little bit higher than that point. I could go lower than the point. Ugh, what do I like? I'm gonna go a little bit higher. Well, I'm gonna go right up here. There we go. There you go. So I've got it kind of overhanging a little bit here. That's fine. And if all you get to it is this part, you're totally fine. Some of you will get to the, let's see, look at this. So I've got the main part here, this rectangle and the dome. And then I can have pieces going across here, pillars going along there, and all that to make it look interesting. So if this is as far as you get today, I am happy. You have my name on the back. I'm gonna put this on the drying rack so it's safe for next time.